Hey, welcome to the stream. Pretty sure it's working. Yes, it is. Good. It's been a minute, so I hope you are all doing well. I'll tell you a little bit about what I was doing and why I was basically vanished for a while. It's a lot of stuff. It's happened the last month and a half or month or so, whatever it's been. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Mavic 3 Pro tonight, which is this here. I do have a question. I also got a new lens here. Well, actually, I have several new lenses. This is mine. The others are borrowed. This is the 100 to 400 G Master, which is a really nice wildlife lens. So I've been starting to mess around with it. Whoops. Try it out. Yeah, I've used it before on a few shoots, and it's just a really, really solid lens. The only issue I've had with Tamron lenses is they can't shoot at the full frames per second that the A1 can shoot at, or the A9. So anyway. So I'm upgrading. Coincidentally, if anyone wants a Tamron 150 to 500, let me know. I'll hook you up. You got a good deal. Also, coincidentally, if anybody wants a Mavic 3 standard with either the RC Pro, the DJI RC or the RC Pro, send me a PM on Twitter or DM on Twitter, and I'll make you a pretty good deal. Because I don't need 3 Mavics, and I have a Cine, and I have the Pro 3 Pro Cine, and I need to let go of one. So look, show and tell H4 services. That's right. No, this is I'm going to ask you a specific question about this here in a second. First, I would say hi. I'm really glad to be back. It's been quite a while. If I don't start sneezing, but it's good. So I know Robert Schmur was in here. H4 Services, drone shots, DD aerial photography. Kevin, Eddie Nunez, dude. It looks legitly post-apocalyptic where you are, man. MHM Photography. If you don't know, Eddie lives in the New York area, and currently there's unbelievable amounts of smoke from the wildfires in Canada, just really making it interesting. So, Bud, I'm not sure why you're here, but I'm glad you're here. AC Adapter. Jim's Drones. Let's see. Ryan Sloan. Hey. Are so pretentious. I like it. Awesome. Linda. Nix. High Tech. Let's see. Envision. I think I got everybody. Shutter Speed Ireland. Welcome. Look, Mama Drone. That's great. Sky Curtain. Well, okay. So, one, if you live in the U.S., you need to email your representative in Congress and your state senators and tell them how this would impact you personally and with your business. That's what I've done. If they go for an outright DJI ban, the problem is, well, I do have a problem with banning things outright, but the problem is there is nothing made by anybody other than DJI that competes. The closest is Autel, also a Chinese company, so would also likely be banned. So essentially they'd be wiping out hundreds, if not thousands, probably thousands of small businesses overnight if they go for an outright ban, like where it's illegal to take off. Chances are more that it would be a ban where it would be, no new imports. Who knows? But the best thing you can do is email your representative and your senator and tell them to not support that. And then inform them as well. There have been multiple security agencies that have looked at DJI drones and come away with the fact that nothing sensitive is being transmitted that they could find. So just, if you haven't watched Ken Dobo, the original Dobo video about it, it'd be good to go watch there, because this all comes back from the Huawei cell phone maker that had legitimate chips in the cell phones that were legitimately spying on what people were saying and what people were doing with their phones. Then it kind of went, into basically this fear-mongering about everything made in China, which honestly, if you look at it, very, very, very few things are not made in China, including antibiotics. I mean, just so, yeah, it kind of ticks me off too. But anyway, so I don't think it would happen, but it is important to communicate with your representatives in the House and the Senate and let them know that, because, well, and Headley, you make a great point. So obviously it's a U.S. law, so it wouldn't affect international other countries. But generally, as a rule, a lot of the times, things that the U.S. does gets followed by other countries. So, yeah, I just, AC adapter. I'm not going to get into a giant geopolitical discussion, but I will say, I think a weather balloon that floated over the United States for a week and a half probably gathered more data than all the DJI drones that have ever flown in the United States. In the United States. I'm not going to say any more than that. That's it. So, question before I tell you what I've been up to for the last month and a half. This is my FX6, which I will be doing some content on very soon. And this is a cinema lens. So you can see it's got the gears. Let's see if I get it to focus here. Come on, baby. There we go. It's got these gears, that make it turn and stuff. And all these markings, like these really cool markings about, like what is what, where, and so on. So the question is, I've been wanting to make some more content to help people understand what the difference is between cinema lenses and why you would choose a cinema lens over, say, a normal photography lens. And yeah, so, and I like these DZO lenses anyway. These aren't mine. They're a friend of mine's. He graciously let me borrow them for a few days just to kind of mess around with and to make these videos. And I promise, new videos are coming, especially my full thoughts on the Mavic 3, which I've had for 4 weeks now. 3-4 weeks. Everything for the last month and a half has really run together, and it's why I haven't put any content out recently, is it just has been insane. So, curious to see, hey, Phantom Flight, you're also in the smoke zone, aren't you? So, 10 toes. Yo! Yeah, Linda, the iPhone's made that. The issue, though, is that DJI is a Chinese company where Apple is not, even though most American companies that operate in China operate the way China tells them to. It just, yeah. So anyway, hey, 107 Drones. Man, I cannot tell you how good it is to be back live streaming with you all. And it's nice to be home in Alaska too. It's been a minute. Anyway, look, Mama Drone, the electric company, no DJI. Yeah, and like One Visionary, thank you for becoming a channel supporter. So Florida, outright DJI drones, not from private stuff, but for any sort of state funded stuff. The issue with that is that, one, it's based on bad information. It's based on false information. Those types of bans are. And two, it is a massive cost to taxpayers to have to replace all of the drones that emergency services or state services use. So police, fire, whatever. It's a huge, huge cost. Because while the cinema version of this drone costs, $4,800, whatever, the enterprise version of the drone is pretty expensive. The counterparts from Parrot or Skydio or any other company that wouldn't be on the banned list, Sony for that matter, FreeFly, they're 2 to 5 times more expensive, and they do not operate as well for the most part. So yeah, anyway. H4 services, kind of scared to ask, but what does that cinema glass go for? These are not super expensive. They're good quality. They're not low end, but they're budget, if that makes sense. So these, I think these are about $2,500 a piece. Now that you've asked me, I should probably look it up. I didn't get that far in my research. Where are they here? That one, that's a 3-lens bundle. I mean, oh, here we go. Yeah, so 2-lens bundle. 2-lens bundle is $6,500, $6,500. You know, so that's what is it, 3,200 each? Okay, so it's a little more than 2,500. It's 3,200 each. So relatively speaking, that's a decent deal for cinema glass. And DZO Film I've known about for a bit. I saw a bunch of their stuff at NAB and I hung out their booth for a little bit. I'm trying to talk to them about like lending me some lenses and stuff just for fun, because they've got some very cool lenses and they're doing very interesting stuff with cinema glass. So anyway, yeah, if that's something you'd be interested in, well, I'm putting content out about them on my channel just so you, you know, you get to see it. Anybody taking photos, Ryan? People can, you certainly can. It's just cinema glass is all manual. It's designed to be really operated by a team, or to be operated manually anyway. So you generally would have a focus puller who's their whole job is just to watch focus. Then you've got the camera op or the DP, and you know, you might have other people involved there too, obviously sound and stuff like that. So okay. Let's see. HR services. I think, as a general rule, we're probably all of the same persuasion of, at least when it comes to drones. Anyway. So, yeah. So that's cinema glass. These are 3,500-ish piece. So they're nice. They have really nice picture quality overall. They're just a nice lens. So, okay. So there's that. Just be warned, there'll be content coming about that sort of stuff. Hopefully it'll be fun and entertaining. Probably content coming about this lens. And, yeah. Wendy, hey. Hey, Maddie's Drone World. You missed me. Windows laptop recommendation for Lightroom, Photoshop, and Premiere. And light 4K video editing with room to grow. No specific budget. Thank you as always. Wendy, I've got to be honest. I have been out of the Windows game for a very long time. That being said, I think it's is it Vizio is making some good stuff. But here's the deal. With almost any laptop now, you're going to get really pretty high performance, unless you're going like the absolute budget range of laptops, which I don't recommend because they're budget for a reason. They're meant for like light web surfing, light email, documents. So what you want for what you're going to do is a laptop that has a decent graphics card, so like 8 gigabytes of memory minimum. You want at least 32 gigabytes of RAM for Photoshop and Lightroom, at least. If you can get 64, even better. I just recommend people get a 512 to 1 terabyte hard drive. Terabyte, if you can do it, is better because you're going to use up that space faster than you think with just programs. But then any video editing, anything like that, you always run it off of an external hard drive, a little SSD like this, and this is where all your files live, and that keeps your system drive a little bit more free. So that's what I recommend. But it's hard for me to recommend a specific laptop because I'm not in the Windows ecosystem. I'm in Apple, and by the way, I will be having some Apple computer stuff content coming because I did order the 15-inch MacBook Air. I think I'm going to replace my MacBook Pro with it if it can handle it. So that'll be one video you'll see. And then for here in the studio, I'm replacing my MacBook Pro with a Mac Studio, the new Mac Studio. And that will be, nicer as far as what I'm doing now, where I'm traveling a lot. I need to get rid of some weight. I love the MacBook Pro, the 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's a little too big on airplanes. It's just like right there. Especially if you're not in the premium economy seats. If you're in the regular economy seats, it's really, really tight to do anything on it. So I messed with the 13-inch MacBook Air, but it's a little too small to edit on for video. The screen is just a little bit too small. So I'm hoping the 15 is kind of like that solid in between point. It's like 1.6 pounds lighter, it's a full pound and a half, a little over a pound and a half lighter than the MacBook Pro, which will be very nice to get rid of almost 2 pounds. And so, yeah, 107 drones. No, but you haven't seen much of these plants because by the time I put them in, I basically was gone. And then, yes, this is all coming with a studio build-out video, which I'm almost done with. I promise. I am getting super, super close. M2 Max? Yes. So it's the M2 Pro in the 15-inch MacBook Air. And then it's the M2 Max in the Mac Studio. So yeah. Robert, am I shooting with the Red? No, not currently. I have shot with Red. I've shot with Red a bunch, both the Komodo and the Raptor. And but yeah, I'm not. This is a Sony FX6 camera body, which I absolutely love. For me, and when I do content on the FX6, you'll see why the Sony is such a great powerhouse for people who work solo. It's nearly an ideal camera if you work by yourself and you film lots of varieties of content where you are kind of the jack of all trades and you're basically filling all the roles. So, Asus gaming laptop from Best Buy. There you go. D&D. That's true. Yep. HP laptop. Yeah. So Wendy, I would say if you get anything with a good graphics card, 4 to 8 gigabytes of memory on the graphics card at least. An NVIDIA chip would be great because they're really powerful. And then at least 32 to 64 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive. Then don't skimp on the Intel chip. Don't get like what was the old in the old days it was like the Celeron or whatever. It was like the budget version of Intel. Don't do that. That'll really slow you down a lot. So, but get a good overall. I would think if you shoot to spend, I would say if you shoot to spend $2,000 to $3,000, you'll get a great setup for doing what you want to do. That should be your budget ish, right in there. And watch for sales. So, okay, so. What in the heck have I been doing? And why did I disappear for a month? It's what I can say about it is I got hired by a company to shoot VR content of golf courses that they own in 10 different locations all around the planet. And I say all around the planet, like literally all over the world. And because we had a very tight deadline of everything being done by the end of May, we had to submit all the footage to the company who is then working with the VR footage to implement it in whatever they're doing with it. Yes, Lisbon was one area near with Lisbon in Portugal. And because I had to do that, because we had to do that, it just made it insanely tight for travel and the destinations. We basically had very little breathing room in any locations if we had bad weather, or in my case, if I missed a flight, which happened because they could not check everybody in fast enough because they had 500 people in line and 2 people working. So, and then the next day when I was going to fly out, when I rebooked, they canceled those flights. So then I had to find another airline and go to a different airport in that Dominican Republic to get there. And still, it was nuts. It was nuts. So I shot 360 H4. Yes, I shot 360, and I was using the Insta360 Titan, which is like their biggest, pro-iest version of an Insta360 camera that you can get. It was huge. Also, I'm going to say it because I just really don't care because they have not responded to me at all, but Delta Airlines destroyed one of my Pelican cases, which... Man, that's doing something. Okay, let's see. There we go. That camera right there. That's what I was shooting with the whole time. So that has 8 4/3 inch sensors and those cameras, and it shoots in. By the time the image is stitched together, it's 11K, 30 frames a second or whatever like that. Mono image. If you do a stereo image, it drops it down to 8K or something like that. So, and then also doing drone stuff. And I built an Insta360 drone for the 1RS, so the drone basically was invisible, and we used that too. And yeah, it was insane. It was the timelines were incredibly tight. We were able to do it all. Thankfully, all the weather worked out. We were able to capture everything, but it was incredibly tight moving. And because we were changing time zones so fast, like it just. I had almost no downtime. So it just was, it was insane, but it was also very cool. I hope to get to work with them again, maybe this time when the timeline isn't so tight. Now that we kind of know what everybody kind of knows each other, I think it'll be better or easier. But it was very, very cool. I also got very sunburned. This is as tan as I get, by the way, after being in the tropical locations I was in for a month. Some tropical, some not. Anyway, so Wendy, you can't do Apple. Yeah, no worries. It's a tool, and use the tools that you can use. And that I'm camera agnostic. I'm really ecosystem agnostic too. Just use whatever works for you. Ryan, monetized YouTube channels need to be Part 107 or the FAA will hit you with fines. I don't know. If my channel is 90% just my A7S III and 10% some drone stuff, can I demonetize those vid and avoid the FAA BS? Technically, Ryan, if those videos are bringing in subscribers, or if YouTube happens to run ads over them, even though you demonetized them, you still need a Part 107. I would get a Part 107 anyway, just because it opens up windows and doors and opportunities for you down the road. It's not that hard, and you could definitely do it. I used to recommend Remote Pilot 101, but I think they're exiting the game. Yeah, I mean, they're still good if you can get them, but you can do it without it too. You can just study and do it, and it took me a day of studying, and I passed with a 95 or 96%. So, and it's only one time. And then from then on, everything's online and free every 2 years. So, which is kind of similar to man pilots. Like man pilots are supposed to take a check ride with someone every couple years and just have somebody sign their logbook saying, yeah, they're still a competent pilot. And of course, they have to do medical stuff. But yeah. Anyway, if you told us you'd have to shoot us. No. Let's see. I mean, I'm not going to say who, but I will say that, these courses cater to the 1% of the planet as far as net worth. Very, very high end. So it was very interesting peeking into that world for a minute. Yeah, it just almost everybody I ran into was like, when I looked up later, it was like they're worth billions. With a B, like not millions, but billions. It was astounding. So everybody was super nice. Everybody was fantastic to work with. It was hot, and I was not prepared for the heat, but it was what it was. So, and it was fun. It was a fun project to work on. I'd not really worked with like a pro level VR camera like that much before. And so getting to actually use one consistently and figure out how to make things work the best, it was interesting. Robert, the Stitching 360 Post. So Stitching 360 Post, I would take because I had to send off some samples, so we were positive, that we were doing what the company working with the footage needed, and what the company that hired everybody was happy with what we were doing. Basically, we had to send them samples. So the 3-minute clip, because you're taking 8 4K images and stitching them into an 11K image. 3-minute clip would take my M1 Max doing nothing else. It would take in an hour about to stitch. And then, yeah, so it was a chore. I'm so glad I'm not doing the post-processing on that. I'm glad I was sending all the footage via hard drives off to somebody else. So, yeah. 10 toes? Nice. Hey, passing is passing. Mark H, I am back. Let's see. That being said, actually, Mark, you reminded me of something. Not that you were intending to or anything like that. This one sounds good, Ryan. If you start getting people ask you for work, then pursue it, man. That's part of the point of my channel, is to teach you the skills that you need, and the skills like that I've acquired to being able to work into where this is a full-time gig for you. There's a lot to that. I don't really work on the business side so much, and I've been struggling with how to kind of talk about the business side more, because most people come here like for the photos or the videos or the drone work. Most people come here for the drone work, I'll be honest. So yeah, but I would like to do that more. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that. And it might, honestly, it probably will end up being like a private group, a paid for thing or something like that. Because it's a lot of high value stuff. And I don't know, I feel like putting it all on the internet, a lot of people are going to be like, who cares? But I am on the channel here, I'm trying to put as much content out that will help people learn and figure out how they can do a lot of this stuff by themselves. Because regardless, if you end up where you're working with a crew of 20 people or 30 people, which I've done, that doesn't matter so much. Everybody starts where it's like you going down to your local coffee shop and making a video for them for social media, or going down to a dentist's office and making a video for them, or going with a realtor and making a video for them. So you start off doing all this stuff by yourself, and then eventually you either work with larger teams as you grow, or maybe you never do that. Maybe you just work by yourself for the rest of your career, and that's fine. It's one of those things where it's like there's a lot of skill sets to being able to grab a camera and make sure you're getting everything you need between lighting, sound, camera stuff, B-roll, A-roll, all of that, and being able to put together something coherent. It takes us a lot of skill sets wrapped up under one roof, in one person. So you got to be a jack of all trades. So that's my goal, to teach everybody and to show you how to do that, basically, and to give you, some pretty cool scenery along the way. Anyway. Be Yourself Adventures. Hey, I helped you last year get a wireless microphone for your iPhone. You've been a photographer since you were 7. What do you think of the Panasonic Lumix GH5? Now I'm a YouTuber. It's a good camera. If you could get the the GH6, it's the newer version of it, it'd be better, because it has better autofocus and a lot of other features. But the GH5 is still a pretty solid camera. Lumix has been putting out some great stuff. In fact, I'm trying to get in touch with them about working with them. Just because I think I use Sony. I love Sony. I'm happy with Sony, but I think exposing, all of you to other camera brands, you might find one that you work with better. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks, Mark. I'm glad to be back too. Really, really glad to be back. Let's see. Titan sounds awesome, Mark. Yeah, I'm gonna make a review video about it, like a little bit about it. I've got it with me. I'm trying to figure out, what could I use this thing for? And then Apple went and dropped their whole, here's our new VR, AR thing, which I'm not going to talk about a lot. It's a ways off. I'm not a super tech YouTuber. I do think it's fascinating, and I think Apple's really changing the game, again, like they normally do. I don't know how, we'll see how the whole thing right now is basically, it is built for early adopters. people who are going to be developing stuff for the future of AR and VR. It is not really made for mainstream people yet. And that's where people are like, well, $3,500. Like, yeah, $3,500, but it's really not aimed at everybody right now. Now, I think in the future, it will be. But they'll probably come out with a different version or a less expensive version, or maybe they won't, and maybe just everybody will end up buying one. I don't know. Hard to say. Let's see. Have I flown AC adapter? I think you've asked me this twice now. Have I flown the Inspire 3? Not yet. I've had some hands-on time with it, not flying it, just looking at it and messing around with it. I really was hoping. I had a meeting with DJI when I was at Vegas at NAB, and we talked about it, and then I've heard nothing since, so who knows. Robert, no doubt, 100K plus subscribers in 2023. I hope so. Although, honestly, subscribers matter less and less to me because of the way YouTube works now. It's not about subscribers. It's really about people, how people engage with the videos. So I am changing a lot about the way, or I'm going to be changing a lot about the way I present my, gear tests and reviews and tutorials and stuff. I haven't quite figured out how all of that is going to work yet, but it's going to be much more story-driven content, still delivering the same content, like, the specs and everything else, but hopefully, ideally, wrapped in a story. Also, that means I may not be making as much content as I kind of work through this change and process about how to make that happen. Because, yeah, anyway. Exactly, 107 drones. Like, it's easy to go. I have so much footage filmed. I have, a few hundred, more than 300 gigabytes of footage filmed with the FX6 that I've been collecting for, my review of the FX6. That's relatively easy. Now you have to piece the whole bunch of it together to make some sort of thing. Anyway. So, let's see. H4 Services, to your point about doing the business side, a well-run business with pretty good photographers will be more successful than a poorly run business with world-class photographers. H4 Services, that is so, so true. And I learned that principle when I was in the music industry and I was working in recording studios and stuff, producing music and recording and engineering records and things, albums, whatever. And the amount of people who have incredible talent and go nowhere is astounding. And the biggest reason for that is that they do not understand the business side, and they're not able to either have somebody come with them and partner on the business side, or they're just they cannot figure out the business side. And regardless, you could be the most talented person in the world, and you have a business manager or an agent or whatever, you still have to understand the business side a little bit. You have to, or you end up being one of the artists who gets massively taken advantage of and loses all their money and ends up working at Walmart. Just a bad example, but you know what I mean. So the business side is extremely important. The people who do the best are people who learn both the skills for being able to produce great content, but also they learn the business side. I would argue maybe the people who do the best probably lean more on the business side and really shore that side of their skills up, and then make sure they have good, solid sides on the video, photo, whatever side, especially in the creative business. So H4 Services, you need to learn more about the business side and also become a better photographer. Well, I think that's kind of the cool thing about this, about any creative endeavor is there's always room to grow. There's always things you can challenge yourself to learn and to grow. And that's what keeps it interesting and makes it fun. Okay, I know a couple of... TJ Grady, Anubis Arts, thank you very much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it, you guys. It was hard to be gone for this long. I'll be totally honest. It was not easy. I kept looking to see, if there was an opportunity for me to be able to live stream or do anything. And it just, I could not. I did, and you will see footage from some of the locations in my Mavic 3 review. just so you know, because I did collect some footage there. But yeah. So, and then Dirt Road Drones, thank you. Really appreciate good information. Bring us. Always look forward to bringing you here in the next adventure. Thank you, Dirt Road Drones. And Anubis, did you ask me a question or you say, oh, you usually don't get watched till Thursday? Oh, thanks, TJ. Mark H. Holy crap, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jeez. I think that's the biggest super chat I've ever had on this channel. I don't know what else to say besides thank you. Like it is extremely humbling. That's a lot of coffee and a couple of tanks of gas. Gas prices, dear Lord. I don't know what they are where you are. It's $4 something a gallon here, and it's anyway. But thank you, Mark. I appreciate it, and I'm excited to be putting out content. I really don't have a lot of work lined up for the next month, so we might be on like a 2 video a week thing here pretty soon. But I basically just want to, yeah. And honestly, maybe the break was kind of good for me. You know, it is good to take breaks from stuff and to come back to it with a fresh perspective and reevaluate and be like, yeah, this is like, I like doing this. I like doing it. We need better weather here in Alaska. So if you all could send us some sunshine, if you have some, that would be amazing. Because so far, we haven't broken, I think we broke 60 degrees Fahrenheit once or twice so far this year, which is, come on. I mean, it is Alaska, but we should be getting in the 70s when it's sunny at least. So yeah, anyway. Loading fish mode. Okay, loading fish. So that is my goal. By the end of this week, I want to have my review of the Mavic 3 out. I will say this. It is an incredible drone. And what DJI has done is it's amazing. We now have 3 cameras built into one small drone that fits in your backpack. I gotta be careful so I don't give away the whole beginning of my video. It's incredible. And the quality of it, the flight characteristics, I don't know what they did with the active track on this, but I feel like it's better. It's active tracking better. Anyway. But yeah, that is coming. And then I'll be doing also, I feel like I finally got the settings for the Mavic 3 dialed in to where I can fly in Cine, normal, and sport mode, which, who am I kidding? I usually fly in sport mode. And it's Cine or sport mode for me, pretty much. I almost never fly in normal mode anymore. But Stefan, dude, it's good to see. Oh, crap, you reminded me. I got to do something. Anyway, good to see you, man. I got to say, Stefan, I enjoyed your videos while I was gone. I really enjoyed them. And also, because of you, hopefully you get a kickback on this, but I bought the 100 to 400 Sony GM because I watched like all of your videos. I mean, I watched a bunch of videos, but I downloaded and watched all of your videos on it and your comparisons on it. And anyway, for those of you who don't know, Stefan is a incredibly skilled photographer who also has a YouTube channel he's more specific on photography and camera stuff than I am. And but if you have questions, like detailed questions about certain lenses, and it's in the Sony ecosystem, his channel is one you should definitely check out because they're great. He does more than that, but they're really awesome. So Stefan, thank you. And honestly, that, like, I've been very happy with the Tamron 50 to 400 or the 150 to 500. Both of them are great lenses. But I found there were certain points where I was like, I need the 30 frames a second when I'm shooting something really high speed, and I can't get that with a non-native lens. So that was a big reason. Also, it's a great lens. It's a really fantastic lens. Yeah, Stefan, he makes some great lens reviews. I really like him. 107 drones. I don't like the Mavic 3. Well, like I said, I'm going to sell my Mavic 3 standard with either the DJI RC or the RC Pro, depending on who wants to buy it and how much they want to spend. But I do really like the Mavic 3 Pro. You'll see why. You'll see why. Like that's I can't really say more than that, because the video will come out a couple of days from now, and you'll see why. But just, yeah. Mark H. So I did share some of my thoughts on that earlier, Mark. But wait, Monday was 74 in the valley? Oh, it was a beautiful day. I went down to Whittier, how to Alaska. Speaking of, are you going to Sutton for July 4th stuff? Because I really want to come out for that. I would love to chase some of those off the cliff with the FPV drone, and but I don't know who to contact there yet. Anyway, so okay, yep. What have I said? Yeah, the Mavic 3 Pro. If you have a Cine or a Mavic 3 and you're happy with it, then be happy with it. You don't need to upgrade. If you're looking at a Mavic 3, I wouldn't consider it's either it's the Classic or this now, but it just is. It's a great drone. It has some quirks and it has some things I wish DJI would fix or add via firmware, but we'll see. So Mark H, the House of Representatives bill effectively trying to ban all DJI drones in the U.S. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, and I know a couple other people agree with me that it's going to go anywhere. But I do think we need to work to educate our representatives in Congress and the Senate to help them understand that this lobbying effort by U.S. drone makers, aka Skydio, essentially, and this fear mongering that they're perpetrating, and even I saw Parrot doing some stuff too, which is disappointing. It's a lot of BS, and they need to watch it. So their Drone XL, I think it was Drone XL or Drone DJ, one of the sites, the blog sites, has a great letter. I would get that letter, download it, kind of adjust it for you, as it has some good education stuff in there, and then send that to your representative and just let them know, hey, we're watching this. And if it passes for some weird reason, which lately in politics, I feel like I'm living in bizarre world sometimes. And it's not just national politics, it's local politics as well. Oh gosh, I don't want to go down a political path. I really try and keep my channel not political. Anyway, if it passes, they need to know that they're effectively wiping out thousands of small businesses, because there is nothing that can compete with this that many people could afford. I am not going to be flying a $10,000 Air Peak with a $6,000 camera on it to capture real estate. Like, that's not happening. So bigger productions, yeah, they'll use an Alta or whatever. But anyway, so the sad thing is that so many people who are making, and this is as political as I will get on this stream now, and then I will probably put the stream in invisible mode from now on. The issue is, at least one of the issues I see, is the people who are making laws that affect those of us who use these things have absolutely no idea about these things. They've never used them. They have no idea of the capability of them. If you look at the median age of our politicians who are making the laws and deciding what the country is doing, median age is like late 60s. I think it was maybe early 70s even. And anyway, so that's laws are being made by people who do not understand the industry at all. Absolutely zero. But they are getting lobbied by companies who have a vested interest in getting their competition banned, which pisses me off, and it's why I got rid of my Skydio drone, and I won't buy anything else from them. So, Stefan, I agree, man. I just am like, I don't understand. Barkley, hey, man, I've got enough gray hair. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything more than that that's any more political. It irritates me, and it's extremely disappointing that rather than innovate, companies are opting to lobby their competition out of existence. It's sad. So, grays all the way, Brian Sloan. Hey, yeah, absolutely. I'm happy with my gray hair. I don't mind it at all. I've had people like ask me if I'm on a diet or anything like that. No way. But then I also have asked people have asked me who did my hair this way, because it's such a like mix of silver and brown, and they were like, yeah, you have no idea how much people pay for that, like to get their hair silvered with a mix of, the salt and pepper look sort of thing. Like George Clooney made it popular probably because he had that kind of look, and anyway. Jared Spink, you're out. No, come back. I promise I'll stop. Anyway, hey, Ed Brentner, how you doing, man? Let's see, Birds of Burnt for the 4th they're going. Oh, I'm sorry, Head of Alaska. By the way, I hope you're doing well, man. It's been a long time since I've seen you. I was out in your area the other day. Are you still out there? VBC area, or... Because I'm planning on coming out there in the next couple of days. I want to climb Lionhead. And so, anyway, I think... Are we friends on Facebook? I don't get on Facebook anymore, hardly ever, because I'm old and I hate Facebook now. And just... Anyway. Oh, yeah. Anyway. Okay. Even the professional Inspire 3 movies, they should have some say so. Yeah. And this is the thing, like the Inspire 3, the dynamic range of that camera, the quality of that camera is on par with budget cinema. I'll say budget cinema cameras, which, unless you're going to spend like $130,000 on an Arri, that's I would consider anything less than $30,000 is a budget cinema camera, which seems insane to say, but it is. Maybe less than 15,000. Well, we'll say less than 15,000. I'll be generous and say less than 15,000 as a budget cinema camera. But the Inspire 3 is competing with those things in dynamic range and quality of footage. So anyway, I am trying to get my hands on one so I can test it. I really am. I want to do some content about it on the channel, and answer questions. Stefan, I agree, man. All right, Paul. Cheers, man. Have a good night. Oh crap! I only got about 4, 5, 6 more minutes to go on the stream, and then it's done. It's the fear of the term drone that makes the man very possible. Yeah, Don, and it's gotten more complicated with the conflict in Ukraine. For a while there, it was ban drones because everybody's spying on everybody, and then that kind of went away. People realized they weren't. It's not like that. So there'll always be somebody who's yelling the sky is falling. There have been since the dawn of civilization people yelling at the sky is falling, because if they can get you to get into a state of fear, you make less informed decisions. You don't think critically, and then you make poor decisions. And generally, those poor decisions separate you with your money, because that's generally where it ends up being there at some point. Tentos, you like your gray hair better than back when it was in your 50s? I used to be blonde. Honestly, I do too. It's crazy, but like when I was much younger, like 25 years ago, I wearing black or like what's the word? Bold colors? Not bold colors, but just like it was hard for me to wear black or white or some of those kind of colors. Just now I can do it and it looks good because I have gray hair. However that works, cool, whatever. I like it. I don't know that it helps me get through customs and airport security lines and all that stuff any better, but maybe it does. I don't know. I went through a lot of them in the last month and I had very few problems, thankfully. I did learn, holy crap, did I learn a lot about traveling internationally with professional level, like high-end equipment, with the Insta360 and stuff, which maybe I should put together a video about that. Actually, maybe I should, because it's one thing to travel with this and, this, because that could be personal. And it is, but as soon as you put in a cinema camera or a 360 camera that's this big and weighs 35 pounds, people go, Yeah, you're not working just for the fun of it here, are you? And anyway, so I did learn a lot about things that you're supposed to do that there is almost no documentation out there about in order to travel with professional equipment and not have to pay taxes and import fees every time you go in and out of a country. So it was, and honestly, for the most part, everybody was great. Like all the customs agents that we met in all the countries and in the U.S., they were all very good, very professional, pleasant to deal with, and stuff like that. So yeah. Let's see. Traveling around the world with professional equipment is not as much fun as just traveling around the world for fun. I will say that. And yeah. Okay, Air 3. Somebody said something about Air 3. And I'm very, very curious about that drone. It looks like if they can get us around 40 minutes of flight time, so AKA like 30 minutes of flight time, actual flight time, not the advertised flight time. And they've got a dual lens system in there that the deal is like if they put a like 3x or a 5x or 7x zoom telephoto camera in there, they need to give us D-Cine like on it. Like that makes it so much more useful. D-Log M would be better, but D-Cine like I would settle for that. Anyway, so Jared, yes, but it is being sponsored by the same two people in the House who have tried to ban drones before. It's the same deal. They're just going at it with a different way. But essentially they're trying to ban DJI. And the way they're doing that is basically trying to ban DJI's technology and the way their drones communicate as far as the FCC is concerned. I remember reading it. I'd have to read it again now because I was kind of dazed and sleepy when I read it. But yeah, essentially they're going after DJI via a side door of the FCC, which also irritates me. Like, just be upfront and say things up front. Don't try this around the back end BS when you're trying to do the same thing. But it's sponsored by the same people, the same two Congress people that have tried multiple times now to ban drones or DJI drones, period. But they've tried to ban drones, period, too. And it's getting old. One of them is Mike Lee, and he's constantly trying to ban drones. I don't know what his thing about drones is, but somebody needs to educate him, or get him unelected and get somebody else elected in his place. It's a little more drone friendly. Stefan, what did I say? What did I say? How old am I? I'm old enough. I'm in my middle of my life, 40s-ish. Let's see, world a few times. Cool. That's some cool reasons, Ryan. So, I mean, I enjoy traveling. I do. It was the fact that it was a solid 5.5 weeks of travel and not seeing my family for most of that time, almost all of it. And so that was a little intense. So the locations we got to go to, they were all really amazing locations and very cool. I'd never been to Portugal. I've been to Europe, a few different places in Europe before, but I'd never been to Portugal and that west coast area there in that peninsula. And Lisbon's a really cool city. I would love to go back there with my wife and spend 10 days, maybe 2 weeks there. But it was a very, very cool place. Yeah. Anyway. Do you have any content on the Sony R7, 7R5? Joe, I do. So I want to do some content around the R7 V, the 7R5. Holy crap, A7R5. Why can I not say that? And comparing it with the A1, why I stuck with the A1 and I didn't change to the A7R5. And then also the A7R5 specifically, which I did film an entire video about it, and then I decided I didn't like the way I filmed it, and I want to redo it, which I probably should just get off my high horse and put it out there. It's a great camera, super great camera. Some of the tech in there is fantastic, But I do want to do a little more in depth about it. So that's coming. Yeah. You think you know the Air 3 release date, Brad? Don't do it. Mini 4 won't be until spring. I don't think the Mini 4 will come till either late this year or early next year. And I think early next year because the whole global economy is slowing down. So unless they target for like around a Christmas release when people are buying Christmas presents, then we'll see. Yeah, I know, me too. Brad, I mean, I think the Air 3 is going to be a really solid drone for a lot of people. So yeah, if you're going to buy a new drone, wait a month or so and see. But yeah. H4, in this case, all of the travel was reimbursed. But yeah, other travel jobs that I've done before, not internationally, but other travel jobs has been where I baked it into the price. But yeah, usually I just go straight up reimbursement. Ryan Sloan, no, you're no relation to me. Sloan, we could be related somewhere way back there. I don't know, possibly. You never know. Sloans are just taking over the world. You're not related to the Sloans who built the Sloan valve company, are you? I always get asked that, and I always wish I'm like, no, but I wish I got like 0.1% of everything that's branded Sloan from that company. Then I would be probably one of the people using the golf courses I was filming, not filming the golf courses I was filming, probably. Anyway. Your Mavic 3 Pro Cinema for sale? No, I am keeping that, and I'm keeping my other Mavic 3 Cine because I do use those on TV shows a lot, and I need those. I'm going to sell my Mavic 3 Standard with either the DJI RC, the little gray remote, or the RC Pro, because I now have two RC Pros. I don't need two. So yeah, whoever buys the Mavic 3 Standard can have their choice, and it will adjust the price. Just saying that, but yeah. Cool. Let's see, what time is it? 5. Oh, I've got to wrap this up. Thoughts on the Alta X? Worried about the RC connection in dense urban environments? Tyler, so I've flown the Alta X. It's a great drone. It's a great platform. I haven't had issues with it, but a friend of mine has, and it flew into a building where they were working in someplace in the U.S. and crashed, destroyed the drone, destroyed the camera, and a good portion of the building. And it was because of the RC connection, and it was in a dense RF environment, in an urban environment, and the RC disconnected. They could not get it to reconnect, and the drone just went off on its own. So, which to me is terrifying, because that is a massive drone with a much larger payload that can do considerable damage to anything it runs into. I mean, the thing is a small helicopter. Tyler, you fly in Chicago? Yeah, so, I mean, for the most part, I don't think you'll have problems. I've flown in Chicago a lot, but it does happen. So, and the Alta X2 is, it's a very, like, I have a friend down there who's probably going to be selling an Alta X, actually. So if you're interested in one, I can put you in touch. Send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll link you two up. The Alta X is a very, very specific drone for very specific uses. It's not something that gets used for a lot of other, like that is a high-end cinema drone or a very specific use case for like mapping or, Bob Casey, watch it. Hey. Yeah. M300, yeah. Yes, it is, Tyler. I think he's going to be putting his up for sale here. So, yeah. Anyway. Who do you work for? Who do you work for down there, Tyler? Or work with? Have we run into each other? I'm terrible with names, so it's quite possible. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway. So it's one of those things, like, if you have that type of work, it's a great tool. Like, but also, like, it's sort of like, well, like, not everybody's Beverly Hills Aerials, who has a bunch of them and does tons of high-end stuff. And not everybody's like, who's it? Peacekeeper Filmworks out of British Columbia. Man, I love watching their stuff. It's so much fun. But it's like, it's also terrifying. I can't believe the stuff they do with that thing. But again, also, if you fly, like, it's like anything. If you fly it a lot, like, you get very confident and comfortable with what it can do and what it can't do. So, is blue listed too? Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's a great drone. And I think personally for me, like, what I would do if I was going to be flying one regularly is I would put an O3 air unit on it and then change the control system out. I don't remember what his is. I think it's Futaba. But I would change the control system out to, like, Crossfire. Because I've never had issues with Crossfire, even in very dense urban environments. I mean, I say that, and, like, I was flying this thing out in the middle of nowhere in Idaho or Montana, and all of a sudden, like, it's literally 10 feet behind me, and it disconnected. It was like, oh, I'm going home. So it went up, flew 10 feet forward, and then landed. Like, it was just like, oh, okay. I don't know what that was about. I'm literally in the middle of nowhere. There is nothing around me. There are no other RF signals. You know, stuff happens. Software, whatever happens, it happens. So, Helios Visions. Oh, okay. I don't think you and I have actually ever met, but I do know who you are, and I know of your company anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, if you're interested, reach out to Colin. I think he's thinking about selling his, just because, you know. Anyway, yeah. So, and, you know, maybe he's changed his mind. I haven't talked to him for a couple of weeks, but no, well, a couple days, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, he and I were chatting back and forth about the Inspire 3 a lot, and yeah, and yeah, you bet. Let's see. Blue listed 40 plus is the new leave me alone. I have nothing left to lose over the hill. That's Ryan. It's so true. Me and Keith, my buddy who flies the little black airplane, you've seen him in a bunch of my videos. We get together all the time, and we're always like, we'll be talking, and then we look at each other, and we're like, man, we both sound like a couple of old guys sitting on our front porch yelling at people to get off our lawn. And if you've ever seen the movie Secondhand Lions, that is like the epitome of what sometimes I picture myself looking like and sounding like. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's so true. It's just, oh yeah. Also, 40 is the new 30. At least that's what we tell ourselves. Although I'm not going to say it's that after I've done some of the physical stuff I've done, where I get down, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not recovering as fast as I used to. Oh, anyway, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Mike Cosbo, what is my preferred way to network? Work on a TV show that's not around a big film community and always looking for ways to meet other filmmakers, drone pilots. Honestly, Mike, Twitter, for me, Twitter and Instagram. Instagram, not so much. Twitter, for sure. Thanks, Tyler. You too, man. Have a good one. Are you guys getting smoke down there? Is it smoky in Chicago, or is it just more the East Coast? Eric V, that was your favorite movie. It was a great movie. It was such a great movie. Secondhand Lines is a fantastic movie. You got if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's so much fun. It's a great movie. Yeah. Anyway, really, really well done movie. Yeah. So. Yeah, I do Twitter, Mike. That's mainly how I do it. And then there are a couple of groups on Facebook, but they're not so much networking groups. They're more like job groups that I'm a part of. But I'm on Facebook so little now because it just is. I just don't like it. I don't like it as a platform. I don't like. Honestly, Instagram's going the same way now. When I look at my feed on Instagram, it's like first thing I see is an ad. I'll scroll down, see one or two posts from other people, then an ad, one post from another person I follow, then an ad, and then a lot of those are mixed in with accounts that I don't follow at all and could not care less about. So it just I don't like the direction they're taking the platforms. It's not. Robert, Lee is. She and I are talking about hanging out in the next couple of weeks. hopefully. We've hung out before. Lee Coates, if you don't know Lee Coates, chat, that's the red and white helicopter. It's been in a few of my videos. She is a phenomenal helicopter pilot, an absolutely incredible helicopter pilot. And they live here in the summer. They snowbird in the winter, and they go other places. But I'm trying to figure out when I can get down there and hang out with them again, because they're back in Alaska now, which is cool. And yeah, they're awesome people. They're really fun to hang out with. It's fun anytime you get to hang out with somebody who's very good at what they do, and you're good at what you do, and basically you want to get together and make something cool. It's so much fun when you get to do that. And yeah, so anyway, I gotta go. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm glad to be back. Thank you for being here with me for my first stream back in a while. I will be back next week. Same time, same place. Probably same time anyway. Maybe same place. We'll see. And until then, there will be several videos coming on the channel here, starting with the Mavic 3 review, Mavic 3 Pro review video. So, yep. All right. Thanks all. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe. Be smart. I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers, everybody.